Hello, hello, my friends. My name is Ashley, aka Astrid, and I am the person behind Ashenbone Designs and Ashenbone Tarot. And I decided that I thought it would be cool to do a little kind of video journal um to kind of let you guys inside my world of tarot reading for myself. And we might explore other topics as well, but I thought this would be a really cool way to kind of create a tarot journal and share it with other people because I like to share my knowledge. I'm a teacher. So that is what I like to do, and I like to create things and create new things. And yeah, we'll just kind of see how this goes. I don't really have much of a plan for it yet. But we'll just kind of see. So let me get started here by saying that this particular video is about um I I had done a tarot reading for myself, and I wanted to see maybe what might be blocking uh the manifestations that I want to come in, like if there was anything blocking those manifestations. And I asked my cards, what is blocking, my manifestations from coming in? Because I just felt like there was, if I felt like everything was coming, everything that I was trying to manifest, have been trying to manifest is coming towards me, but I just feel like we would get right there to the threshold of it and it would stop for one reason or another, and it wouldn't quite come through all the way. And so I thought, let's see what the cards have to say. And so I did that. Um, and basically they told me, I don't need to work harder. I'm putting in the work. But basically here's what they told I got the King of Wands, um, with the Seven of Swords underneath of it, the Seven of Pentacles reversed with the King of Cups underneath of it, the Four of Pentacles reversed with the Page of Swords beneath it, and the Moon on the bottom, and Judgment in a split. So, um, what all of that, why I chose that spread and why that layout is a topic for another time. But basically, the message is, um, I need to be honest about what I truly want. I need to stop avoiding the deeper truth of my fears. Stop constantly evaluating whether or not it's working. I need to trust my heart, my intuition more, which I'm, you know, that's a struggle for me. I need to loosen my grip on control and specific outcomes. I get very attached to desired and specific outcomes. And then I need to stay curious about what I'm learning and explore the unconscious fears beneath the surface because I'm in the middle of an awakening from old patterns. So, I'm not being told that I need to work harder. I'm being told that I actually need to let some things go. I need to trust myself. I need to be more honest, become more honest with myself and become more aware. And I already have a pretty good amount of self-awareness, but I might need to be more aware of like signs and synchronicities and signals that and messages that I'm being sent. Um, it's less like a go get it message and more like I need to stop fighting myself. Um, so a lot of that also aligns with other spreads that I've done and learning how to receive, which is a difficult thing for me. So what I wanted to do was figure out how I can physically turn that message into actionable steps that I can take to actually remove these blocks and manifest um, and practices that I can do that directly target these specific blocks and spread, not and that the spread identified. So, the avoidance, impatience, the control, the difficult receiving. I wanted to know how I can actually physically do things and take actionable steps towards removing those blocks to hopefully bring in my manifestations. So, the first thing is getting brutally specific about what I want. What a lot of people do, and maybe they don't realize they do this, or maybe they do realize that they do this, is they soften their desires to protect themselves from disappointment. Oh, I want to be a famous actor. In their mind, they're superstar famous, like Zendaya famous. But they soften that desire to for a multitude of reasons. They're told, well, you'll never be that famous. That's, Zendaya. She's Zendaya. Or, you might be able to make it good in a local theater or something, or you might even, be able to get some extra roles or backup roles or something like that. And they soften that desire and they decide, oh, landing that backup role is good enough. Or being an extra, with consistent work, that's good enough for me. They soften those desires and at some point they stop going after the bigger dream. So, my first step is getting specific about what I want. And I'm going to write this down, and I have written it down in a journal already. Um, and, if you need to get specific about what you want to, here's what you should write about. What is it you want? Get specific. For me, I want to be able to earn a livable income off of something that I create to have flexibility and freedom so that I can travel more. And my main desire is to have that be my tarot readings and my Ash and Bone Designs website. And, if I become a recognizable face, I wouldn't mind that either. The why. I feel like I have a message to share with people. I feel like I have wisdom and knowledge to share with people. And I want to share that and I want to help people. That is my why. I have been a school teacher for the last 2 years. And the why I became a school teacher isn't too much different than the why I want to do this and do tarot and live this way because I I'm a healer, I'm a guide, and I'm a teacher. And if I can help somebody else have an easier journey and go through what I've gone through, but in a softer, easier way, that's what I want to do. Um, and then you have to kind of face the beliefs you have around what do you think is going to happen if you accomplish this desire, if you get this desire? This could be, something as small. This could be something like, I don't want to say small. This could be what do you think is going to happen if you end up marrying this person? Or what do you think is going to happen if you end up getting that job? What do you believe is going to happen? Your beliefs around that desire. And then your fears around that desire. What do you fear is going to happen if you get it? Do you fear you might get hurt if you end up in this relationship? Do you fear it's going to end before it's even began? Do you fear you're going to get stuck or be unhappy or not like the people that you work with if you get this job? Do you fear there's something about this job that you're missing? So what do you want? Why you want it? What do you think is going to happen if you get it? What do you fear is going to happen if you get it? And then what are you afraid of will happen if you never get it? If you never get that relationship, do you think are you afraid you're never going to find love again? Are you afraid you're never going to feel the same way about somebody again? If you never get that job, are you afraid you're never going to get another job like it or be able to make the money or advance in your career? So, if you remember in the cards that I pulled, the moon card was one of them. That's a card of uncertainty. And those last two questions, what I fear is going to happen if I get it, and what I fear is going to happen if I never get it, the moon has a lot to do with fear. So, those last two questions, that's where the moon kind of lives. Okay. So, for example, someone might consciously, like I've said, say they want a relationship. They might fear being seen. They might fear losing their independence. That's a big one for me in connections. And they might fear being hurt again. So, the goal here isn't to fix the answers, it's just to bring them into the light. We're bringing them out of the dark of the shadow of the moon and into the light, into the sun, so that we are aware of them. We're bringing awareness to these fears and the beliefs that we have around these desires. So the next is, like I mentioned previously, the Seven of Pentacles reversed. There's an analogy I like to use here when I talk about the Seven of Pentacles. It has a lot to do with cultivating and planting seeds and cultivating those seeds. Stop checking for progress or evidence every day, is what the Seven of Pentacles in reverse is telling me. So if I'm, if you have something that you're trying to do and you're like checking it every day, oh, did I get the views on that video? Did I get the likes on that video? Did I accomplish these tasks that I was supposed to accomplish or that I should have accomplished, in time? Am I making the progress, Um, and you're constantly checking that. If you're frequently asking, am I there yet? Did I do it right? Is this aligned enough? Why isn't it happening? Then you're reinforcing the feeling that you don't already have it. Chances are you're closer than you think. So the actionable step that we can take here to stop checking for evidence every day is instead of like getting caught up in checking your views every day or your analytics or something every day on your website, is check your progress once a week. Make a schedule. Okay. Make a schedule. Check on your progress once a week. Check the analytics once a week. Okay. Not every day, not every hour. Check it once a week. Journal. I'm a huge advocate for journaling. It's something that I've done off and on for years and years and years. And it's never really stuck before. And it's something now that's really starting to stick, especially since I've started shadow journaling. And if you want to get started in shadow work and journaling, I do have a digital shadow journal that has 182 prompts that asks you the hard questions that you might be avoiding. And the pages are printable, or you can, you know, use the prompts and write them down in a notebook if you like. But they are printable. They have lots of space to write on as well. And it's very pretty looking, in my humble opinion. So check for progress once a week. Not every single day, not every single hour. Journal. This can be a multitude of journals. This could be just, I have several journals. I have my shadow journal, and I try to do that one at least once a week minimum. And then I have a brain dump journal, and this is just where I just all of my thoughts that spill out of my head, I have nowhere else to go. Just that I just write them down in this journal. And then I have kind of like a tarot journal. I have a tarot journal that I write, you know, um, that I write down the spreads that I do for myself. And another good thing to do that you put this in any journal that you have, or you can have a completely separate one, or you can just do a simple sit and reflect. I like to write things down, but you can just do a simple sit and reflect once a month. Reflect on where you started at the beginning of the month, what happened during the month, and where you finished the month. The rest of the time, live your life. So I want to revisit the seed analogy that I had mentioned earlier. A seed doesn't grow faster because you inspect it hourly. Okay? It needs consistent watering of the right amount, consistent cultivating, so weeding, checking the soil, proper sunlight, and it needs, oh, shoot, I lost my train of thought. And it needs patience. Okay? So, uh, just because you water it more doesn't mean it's going to grow faster. You need to put steady, consistent energy into what you're trying to build and grow. And that's really what the Pentacle suit is about, is steadiness, groundedness, consistency, slow movement, very, very grounded earth energy. Okay. So the third thing that we can do, if you're like me and you have a hard time receiving, is practice receiving small things first. A lot of us feel like receiving means accepting huge blessings, huge things. Someone decided to gift you a large amount of money, or you won the lottery, or someone gave you a brand new pair of shoes that they didn't want anymore. Something like, and I know maybe some people that's not huge, but it is for me. That's a big thing for me. Okay. Um, but usually we need to start smaller. Someone gives you a compliment. Oh, I love that top. It's a beautiful color on you. They offer advice or they offer to help you. They might even just buy you a coffee. They might even take a chance on you and give you an opportunity. So when you are faced with those small, seemingly small acts of giving, and you are the receiver of those small acts, pay attention to what you do. What is your instinct? Okay. Do you deflect? Do you minimize? Do you feel guilty? Do you try to repay that coffee as fast as you can? Oh, you bought me a $6 coffee. I'm going to take you out to dinner to a steakhouse. Okay. When somebody does those small things for you, just simply say thank you and stop there. Okay. If someone compliments you, I love your blouse, don't look for something to compliment them back, especially if it's not a genuine compliment. Okay. Because they're going to feel that disingenuine compliment and they're going to be like, did they really like that? I mean, my compliment was genuine. Did they really like that? Receiving is a skill. And if you're anything like me, you've learned your whole life that you have to be worthy before you can receive. Okay. Um, you have to have put in the work before you are worthy of receiving anything. And that is true to a point. Like hard work will pay off in most cases, but it doesn't always. But you still have to be okay with this is a self-evaluation thing. Somebody might think that you're already worthy of receiving this gift that they're trying to give you. But you have to feel that too in order to receive with grace. But if you don't feel like you deserve to receive that blessing, that compliment, that coffee, whatever it is, do it anyway. Simple as that. Do it anyway. And soon enough, you're going to start receiving more. And then eventually, you're going to start feeling worthy of receiving. And when you feel worthy of receiving, that's when the big blessings come in. So start small and say thank you and develop that skill just like you would any other skill. Okay. An example that I have personally is recently, I remember when I was talking about shoes, someone bought me I've been friends with this person for a long, long time, and I recently moved, and this friend and I, we are a part of a community that, does the same things, and he bought me a pair of shoes. They weren't brand new, they were used, and that's fine. But they were still in very good condition. And I knew because I've seen similar styles of these shoes before, and I knew that they were probably pretty expensive. And so when he said, "You- I got you these boots," I was like, wait, what? You did what now? I know how much those are. And it took me a long time. I was really excited because I loved them. They were very cute. Um, and it took me a long time to be okay with that. And then so we didn't see each other for a while after he bought these, but when he finally gave them to me, it was the day before a big event. And when he finally was able to give them to me, I was like, I simply said, "Thank you. These are amazing. Thank you so much." And that feeling of what am I going to do to repay him was definitely there, but I also knew that I didn't need to. He did this out of the blue and out of the kindness of his heart. And I wanted him to feel that feeling of that's a good feeling when you give somebody something they really love. And you see that and you get to experience they enjoy what you've gifted them, physical or, spiritual or whatever it is. So I wanted to give him that experience of like, me being having gratitude and appreciation for this gift so that he could feel like the fulfillment of giving because giving is a beautiful act as well. Now, I've gotten a little off topic here. So moving on. So far, we've got practicing receiving, um, coming up with a review schedule to check progress, scheduling that checking of analytics and things like that. And, being very specific and writing it down what we want and journaling and reflecting. Okay. So the next one is another journal. Create a curiosity journal. The Page of Swords is was in my spread. And so what the Page of Swords is asking you is every time you catch yourself asking, or what the curiosity journal is going to do for you, um, is every time you catch yourself asking, why isn't this working? You need to flip the script in your brain and say, what am I noticing? So questions like so the page is a student, he's learning. So questions like, what surprised me today? What opportunity appeared? What pattern am I seeing? And what feels different now than 6 months ago? That specific question for me is huge. I could probably write 5,000 words on that alone because 6 months ago, my life was very, very different. Um, but curiosity opens doors that holding on to that control can't. A lot of us get very, very attached to desired outcomes, and we forget that this is a journey and we're supposed to be learning along the way. And that's what this curiosity journal, that's what the Page of Swords asks us to do. Okay. The fifth thing that needs to be done to overcome these blocks is for me to build emotional trust. And this is the Knight of Cups. Um, he's the antidote to the King of Cups in reverse from an earlier spread that I had done. And I believe that earlier spread was like, what are the blocks? And then I asked, okay, what do I need to do to remove these blocks? And that's what we're discussing now. So what a lot of people do is they try to manifest from the neck up, which means they're using their mind, they're using their head, they're not using their heart. And the cups is the suit of emotion and following your heart. So, and the swords is the suit of the mind. All right. When the heart and the mind are able, which is rare, we all know this, when the heart and the mind are able to kind of balance, that's when we can bring things in really, really well. But a lot of people try to just manifest with their mind. What the Knight of Cups is asking me to do is to reconnect with feeling. So, a way that I can do this is being reflective and asking myself, and anyone could do this, what am I actually feeling right now? Not what should I be feeling, and not what spiritual practices say I should feel. An example of this is when I was moving. I was excited to move. I was very excited to start this new chapter. And, but I had a lot of fears in that, and anxiety and nerves around this move because there was a lot of uncertainty around this. Um, and so while I was excited, that wasn't the emotion that was most prominent. And what's funny is, people would ask me all the time, "Are you getting excited?" I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm pretty excited." And they're like, "You don't seem excited." And I'm like, and then I would switch and be like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm super excited." And that would be it. I would just be excited. Like I would just force myself to be excited about this. When in reality, I was excited, but like there was still a lot going on, a lot that I was uncertain about. And I was still processing emotions from leaving, from separating from my husband. Um, and other relationships that ended. So there was a lot going on, and the excitedness that I was supposed to feel according to everyone else was overshadowed by other emotions. So if you are ever in a situation that you're, I don't know, feeling weird about, ask yourself, what am I actually feeling? Someone asks you to go out and do something. Really assess yourself and ask yourself, do I really want to? Am I actually excited to go do this? Am I happy to go do this? Or are you tired? So emotions tend to move when we acknowledge them, right? So if we're stuck and forcing ourselves to feel a certain way about a certain thing, if we're stuck, that, you know, that can cause us to become stagnant. If we acknowledge and actually process these emotions, that's when they begin to move. That's when they begin to flow through us. Okay? You have to acknowledge your emotions in order to move on from them. You have to process your emotions. Okay? And, do this in a safe way. If you are angry, but you're in a physical location where you are not able to express that anger in the way that you want to express it, wait till later and feel it later. Okay. Allow it to come back up if it needs to and feel it later and process it. The next thing is be okay with uncertainty. This is a big, big one. I've talked multiple times so far about controlling the outcome. And I talked earlier about how the moon can be related to fear. The moon card is also really heavily associated with uncertainty. And uncertainty often conjures up fear and anxiety in people, right? So we want to know what the outcome is. So one of the biggest thresholds in life is accepting that you don't know exactly how it's going to unfold. And the moon rarely gives clarity first. The moon asks us to move first instead of waiting until we're certain. So, for a lot of us, this can look like going back to school or sending an email, making an application, having a tough conversation, or just starting the passion project. Okay. Um, that was a big thing for me in this move that I made. A lot of uncertainty, but I did it anyway. And now I'm starting to see the way that I want to live my life is starting to unroll before me. There's still a heavy amount of uncertainty around a lot of different things for me, but the way that I want to live my life is starting to unroll and unravel in front of me. And the pieces are beginning to fall into place. So sometimes we just have to take that first step and let the clarity come later. Okay. So if you're wondering if you should take that class or start dance lessons or whatever it is for you, stop thinking about it and just do it. Okay. Even if we're not sure how it's going to go. Number 7. If you remember from earlier, the judgment card was in the split of my reading here. So judgment is about answering a call to a new version of yourself. So a useful question might be if the next chapter, an actionable practice that we can do with this, holding a judgment perspective, is asking the question, if my next chapter has already begun, how am I going to behave this week? Okay, am I going to introduce myself differently? Am I going to set and stick to a boundary? Am I going to stop chasing that person that has clearly showed no interest in me? Am I going to apply for a job that maybe I wouldn't have applied for regularly? Am I going to spend money differently? Am I going to take some more time for myself? Am I going to take myself more seriously? Am I going to take myself less seriously? So, judgment often, is an awakening. It's not about becoming someone new, but it's about finally acting like the person that you've been becoming all along. All right? So you might not be that person yet, but if you start acting like that person, you'll be that person in no time. So the threshold of my manifestations don't seem to be blocked by a lack of opportunity. Like there's not a lack of opportunity here, and I see that. I have noticed that immensely. What I'm being asked to do, and what others are probably being asked to do as well, is to release old survival strategy techniques. It doesn't take much for people to enter into survival mode. And survival mode looks like protecting yourself from disappointment, staying hypervigilant, trying to control outcomes, or, withholding a full commitment. Remember, we talked about softening our desires, but withholding our full commitment to our desires. So, if I could sum this up, these cards, they're asking me to know what I want and be okay with not knowing exactly how it arrives, as long as I'm willing to keep showing up anyway. And that's what I'm doing. Every single day I show up. I might show up in different ways. I might not do as much some days as I do on other days, but I consistently show up. And that is what matters. Consistent, steady patience. Okay. So to sum all of this up, if you are like me and this resonates with you, these 7 things that you can do, get specific about what you want. Ask those questions that we talked about earlier. Set yourself a review schedule to check on your progress. And outside of that, just live your life. Practice receiving. Remember, it's a skill. Even the small things. Say thank you. Keep a curiosity journal and ask yourself questions about what surprised you and, what are you noticing? Build emotional trust with yourself. Genuinely reflect on how you're feeling in a moment if especially if people are expecting you to feel a different way. Be honest with yourself about how you feel. And then be okay with not knowing the outcome. And the last one, start acting like the person that you're becoming. Okay? So I hope this was helpful. And I hope you enjoyed it. And we're going to see where this journey takes us. If you haven't already checked out my website, ashenbonedesigns.com, please do. I have a blog on there called The Hollowed Archives where I discuss shadow work, tarot, mythology, and mysticism, as well as whatever else might be piquing my interest at the moment. And it's all designed to help provide guidance and knowledge for people who might need a more spiritual outlook on life. And then I also offer tarot readings as well to help you answer those burning questions and guide you through your toughest times and the best times, even. And then lastly, I also have fun apparel that I design myself. So if you are like me and you like a little witchy, gothy style, go check that out as well. Thank you guys so much. I will see you in the next one.